right, Adeshamamba, IMF reporter Omode Ebai just say a year gold ball CEO, a year Sammy Gyamfi, and then call for some loss of $240 million. IMF for Edeba Monteso. Now gold ball CEO Sammy Gyamfi Eba Monteso Ebe Kasa Bema respond. To the extent say and some IMF for a day eba not just no kwasembia any. Now we know say a fellow Ghanaian sa ye one Ghana ha ye pen no kwe ensem no e bi ewura ensem no mo e bi twa say e no kwe e bi nso e twa say yo kwe ensem bia any. Na ene de ya me no kase IMF asa abamonte a stande e twa say omu gina baby omu gina say a year gold board Bank of Ghana related to a year gold board and a loss of $240 million. Omujina baby omuja and then they did in Chemo Abamontesu. I bebo era and semna Naya Quoti say a year no quest a year no quay. You are a Jinchebia also one way Janet or a comment session I say a day.
Okay, let me clarify a few things. First of all, if you read the staff report, paragraphs 32 to 36, you will see that the IMF has not classified or characterized the domestic gold purchase program as a purely loss-making operation. Okay? Instead, it emphasizes both the benefits and the costs associated with the program. On the benefits side, the DGPP, the Domestic Gold Purchase Program, has helped to accumulate reserves, has also alleviated some of the pressure on the FX market in difficult times, and it helped the BOG diversify the reserve accumulation and the export. Okay, so these are clear points, well acknowledged in the report. At the same time, the report makes the case that there are operational and financial risks associated with the program, particularly when it comes to the gold board related flows. Okay, and those operational and financial risks come from trading activities, from exchange rate risks, and financing risks, because the gold is also volatile, so there is market risk involved, and also how gold is financed and monetized also matters. Okay, so the assessment done on the exposure in the report basically just tries to bring more transparency to the program and at the same time help improve risk management surrounding the program. Now, I would say a key clarification for what has been mentioned in the report is that gold board related activities are quasi-fiscal in nature. Therefore, any loss associated with these activities should not be on the BOG balance sheet, but rather should be brought on balance, on the budget, on the fiscal side. And let me explain why. Because any losses or any issues related to the program will eventually lead to a weaker BOG balance sheet that could risk the implementation of their core mandate, which is price stability. So it can impair their ability and credibility, and eventually can fade central bank independence. So this was one point that I wanted to make and basically give you a balanced view of what has been said in the report. So in a nutshell, the DGPP program has brought lots of benefits, and those are acknowledged. And at the same time, there are risks associated, and with better management, better governance, and sustainability, the program can bring even more benefits. So going forward, I think the public debate and the discourse has brought all these things to the surface, and I would say brought more transparency, and eventually it will lead to a system to a program where you maximize the benefits and at the same time minimize the costs associated with the program.
So this, and sorry if I just want to get some education here. So this expected loss or whatever, was it more of a projection rather than your analysis on the exposure to say that BOG would end the year with this X loss because of the trading and all those things? What was the basis of the staff in their assessment to say that this is going to be the expected loss?
Okay, so let me clarify that point. At least what I understood from the speculative term used by the BOG. By now, this might have changed in the meantime, but basically what they probably meant was that the data that the team has reviewed and analyzed was not final, because the 2025 accounts are not yet audited. So the expected losses or the realized losses in the end might change up and down once the audit is completed.
Yeah, but I know that, yes, in auditing, I mean, by now anybody who's working on this area knows the expected loss, and sometimes maybe, if I want to use the expression of +1 or -1, it won't be out when you try to do your extrapolations and projections. But again, to help my viewers appreciate this, because I know what the fund goes through in putting together their staff report. This is not like a media person saying hearsay. There's a team on the ground, there's a technical assessment. Even before a staff report comes out, it goes through several departments at the IMF. So when a fund says something in their staff report, this is not based on hearsay. And that's why I'm just trying to establish that. So what was the basis of that projection, that you saw the numbers, you did your own review based on your engagement, and the fund or the staff stand by the assessment that based on the current arrangement, BOG would end the year making this X loss because of the exposure to gold board?
Indeed, the fund will stand by their assessment, and that you are correct. It went through a thorough review process. Ultimately, as I mentioned, what is important here to realize is that we didn't want to assign any blame on BOG, Gold Board, or the Ministry of Finance. What we wanted to achieve with this disclosure is more transparency, and that we ultimately put in place the risk management and the right checks and balances such that we minimize the costs associated with the program. The benefits of the program are very clear and well emphasized in the report.
That's yeah, they want to gold next be free, you know, say drop be by international gold price now. In so buy so no ansha na e ho akotre
me nkasa by heart dom kuma no nyese dede ne ye na after IMF can same we say no e na ban ni makuo mienu a omo ne abom din wo mu no omo ba abontin be issue statements.
Yes,
baako a gold board statement. Almost say contrary to the mischievous claims contained in the said publication, almost say Asase Radio air publication be say Omaboka. The gold board has been making significant surpluses and profits since its establishment. Quarterly financial statements of the gold board, which will soon be published on the official website of the statutory corporation, will bear this fact out. And a Bank of Ghana so babe issue statement. Bank of Ghana statement obey issue here no. Or say the Bank of Ghana is currently undergoing its annual external audit. As such, Timio, any figures reported in relation to losses from gold operations in 2025 remains speculative. Pacho, two way ukaboma as it is saying.
Sir, Usha gold board here na. gold board argument has been say okay say gold board aboka omunyi ntum in
but your IMF statement na me kan what is say IMF say gold board aboka
no
okay to aso
no enti gold board statement say obi obeka say gold board na aboka no
IMF statement
no say apart from the IMF apart from the press conference maka no
no certainly no press conference
so subsequently no
at the time our issue statements yes. What they were doing was that they were denying what the IMF was saying between gold board and Bank of Ghana. The impression they gave everybody that was the original
the impression I got from the gold board kind say eka aba basa kan no contrary to mysterious claims no
oman kase eka debi oman kase kaba gold board fon kase kaba in fact utie some of them interviews also no nya aware crowd of Bank of Ghana for worker no mo crampo there omo moka but any one leg
okay.
There were time okay. The other leg they say Bank of Ghana for also say can speculative enti who can buy using two institutions no bomo what they are telling us and they say what the IMF has announced at the board level, management level, to the global investor community, based on their Ghana buying and kasa kachre say ya boka $214 million.
But as a finance person, you also know say Bank of Ghana kase omo person omo chain na ye audit your books to know the official position. They are writing saying
or say the loss has occurred into their Obidiba was a yen audit and loss now occurred that. Now what is happening? And by the way, this was September. By December, no loss from your calculation, it do be $300 million.
Yes.
That's about 3 billion Ghana cedis. Now initially, what the government sought to do through these two institutions, and let's show the history. What the government sought to do through these two institutions was to create the impression say Ekabiamae. It was because of that NIK says okay, if Abaino A deny a Canada, here's what we have to do. We have to call for an inquiry so that we will A be able to establish whether or not there has been a loss. B where any occasion loss no. C what are the remediation measures also taking? Na sa loss me fee program ni mo no amabio. Until the first question is a
request in
fact there are more than that, but I'm telling you why.
Okay.
The first question I'm saying, why did we do the press conference? Is because the government sought to deny it, and this is not the first time. I can give you a history. Afiani fi asie no e na yen be ka kire mo say ebalo first of all aban ni be di intro say oba na dollar is 17. Ene ka say yen no kre na 14. On the 7th of January brand if you abem na 14. Actually, and now say omoba na appreciation of the CD has started. Meboa na aban papaba. And you know correct. The appreciation of the CD started in the last quarter of 2024. When your gold for reserves program gold prices rally na yetuni creating reserves na excess.
Yes.
A whole appreciation started. Me cramming some annual report of the Bank of Ghana. And make sure the entire now here say you be requested for this particular public inquiry. Pacho, tender amount document being
annual report and financial statement 2024
of
Bank of Ghana.
Bank of Ghana. There before I make go into detail no. Pacho Haini.
That's Dr. Siama.
Dr. Siama. Make sure baby and the signature what sign the account no. The signature ni.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Siama say oba an appreciation na starting. Gold for reserves program na ye starting you know. A buy no man kakra bi an account na ma kan. Okay, into call page 20 under foreign exchange market.
Yes.
3.1.
Yes.
Also, the foreign exchange market experienced intermittent pressures during the first 3 quarters, which led to the CD depreciating, but recovered in the last quarter. The pressures emanated from increased demand for foreign exchange to support energy-related payments. uncertainties around timelines on the conclusion of the external bond restructuring and cocoa board financing arrangement.